Hello everyone and welcome to our ink2inc series where we bring you stories of startups, how these startups started just as an idea and are successful companies today. Today we have with us the founder of EDrive Unit Engineering Solutions Private Limited, Mr. Suraj. This company is being incubated at the Atal Incubation Center at Jyoti Institute of Technology Foundation, Bangalore. EDrive Unit Engineering Solutions Private Limited is developing indigenized electric vehicle components that other startups can use who are into the EV sector manufacturing. Actually, and complement the OEM with reduced cost and time to market. Mr. Suraj here is an automotive engineer with a passion to create sustainable mobility solutions for the electric vehicle sector in India. He has a decade of automotive industry experience and has worked at various projects at companies like Mercedes, Benz and Chrysler.
Yes.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Pratiksha. It's a great honor to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for inviting us today at the studio to talk about our startup and also about a bit of our journey as well.
Yes.
So I look forward to talking to you.
So, Mr. Suraj, tell us about yourself and your startup.
Absolutely. So I'm a graduate in mechanical engineering, so very passionate about automotive, and specifically I like sustainable energy, anything that is greener to the environment and keeps it all going. So with that way, as I said, as you also mentioned, so I worked with Mercedes for a while, and I was with Chrysler as well. So that's a bit about my background, and coming to the part about our startup, it's EDrive Unit. It's a brainchild of me, and the way we got into this is because we see a lot of electrification projects are going on in India. I think we have highest number of EV startups in the whole world as well. Coming to the picture that a lot of these companies and startups require components, which will go into the vehicle. But it's very, very hard to find all of this ecosystem straight away available for all of these OEMs, which we call it as, who are making the vehicles in India. So the idea originated from there, that how do we help this ecosystem that is growing and budding with a lot of young entrepreneurs who are building EV startups, so that they will be able to have an access to the components and the things that they require to build an electric vehicle. So the idea started from there, and then we took across to develop things, and we identified what is required for the market, and we are developing a lot of components that really goes into the EV. So that's a bit about what the startup is doing as of today. And we look forward to become, we have very big competitors in the market. I would say even companies like Bosch, Continental, we are competing in that space, which we call it as a tier 1 suppliers, which is very, very big compared to us, what we are today. But as a startup, we are all crazy, and we are all driven and motivated to be doing what we like to do. So that's about our startup is doing today. Yeah.
So at the beginning, if we go and rewind to the beginning,
sure.
Did you notice some problem or some need that needs to be solved, or did you see some opportunity that you could make use of? How did this idea come to you?
Right. No, very good question, by the way. I was consulting a lot of startups in India, and also as an organization, so we've been consulting also some of the OEMs and globally as well. When we see that when they want to develop something, right, everybody is struggling to get parts. Because if you talk about big companies like the Hero or Bajaj or anybody else for a case, they have a very well established supplier ecosystem, and it's very well handshaked. So it's very well established as together. But when a new company or a new startup want to do something, right, so these things are not easily available. Because if somebody goes to Bosch, there is a minimum requirement of how much order you need to place and what is it really required for them to make this as a business opportunity. Because obviously, as a big organization, it runs with different processes in place. So a startup out of college, I'm building an EV, aspire to build something new and crazy out of things. So when they go to companies like Bosch, and they never really would get something what they really want to get. And when you don't have the access to technology that is very well reliable and very well proven, you will build something that is not really reliable, and you would end up seeing a lot of vehicles getting blasted or catching fire, right? So these kind of instances will really happen because you have not invested really on a very well established supplier ecosystem, or you might have not found somebody who has enough experience in building these things as well. So because as an automotive, it's not very simple as, you would just use it in normal mixer and grinder operations. You drive the vehicle in Ladakh, you drive the vehicle in Rajasthan, you drive the vehicle in the saltest areas like Goa or anywhere. So, and it is abused in any manner. So it need to be proven to its own automotive grade requirements. So when we see this is not something available for these startups, and they're struggling to develop a vehicle which is really, really reliable. And I saw this opportunity that when it is not about just creating an opportunity for ourselves as a business, but it's about an opportunity that all the startups would get if we have an ecosystem. Right? There are about other 50 companies who are struggling, and this product can help them to propel their idea to make a product come to the market. And this is something, how it's all started, and how the idea got originated. And because we are consulting, and we got to know that there is a requirement in the market, and everybody wants and needs and things in place. So that's all how it originated in a way.
So if other startups want, materials in a smaller quantity,
yes,
you are there to cater to them.
Yeah. So I think you pointed a right thing there about a quantity, right?
Yes.
So when we go to, as I said, big companies, there is a lot of way how things works.
Right.
So there would be requiring a minimum quantity orders to confirm that this is going to be a business. So if I say any EV company today, they don't have big sales like what Hero has. Maybe Hero would make about like 5 lakh vehicle a month. Right. So, but any startup would not even make it 2,000 vehicles a month.
Exactly.
So when this is not a big viable business option for a supplier, so why would he or she agree to supply components?
Absolutely.
Right? So when we saw this, the product that we have to create should be having a way that it is modular in nature, because you want something and the next startup wants something else.
Right.
So it should be customizable, and it also should be a scalable in nature.
Absolutely.
So understanding this, we are not something like you need to have a minimum order of 10,000 to place an order with us. So if you have a requirement, so we can develop it. If we already have a product, so you could take that product and then start using and build your POC and raise funds, and then come back to us for your customizations.
Wow.
So it's more easy for them to build that first POC and build a couple of vehicles in place, and then show to a customer, get an orders, and then raise their evaluations, then go to the investor, and then they raise funds, and then they have money to do something really, really that they need.
Nice.
So in this way, we have built a product which is basically modular and also scalable in a way, so that startup doesn't have to spend a lot of time and money in getting that product, and there is no minimum requirement as such there.
And also they don't have to spend a lot of time developing their own.
Exactly. That's a very important thing, because for a OEM, how soon they bring the product into a market.
Correct.
Right.
Before
how soon?
someone else does that.
Absolutely. Because there's a cutthroat competition across, and people are importing things from China and selling it here. And you have to be cost competitive, you have to be time competitive, and all these things.
True.
So when this has to happen, so then they need to be handled. And most of the startups, when I worked in Mercedes or Chrysler, we have a very well built process, right? So very well built plans in place and expertise in place. So and a startup will not have any of this. They just know they have to build it, but there's a lot of things that comes in between to make that happen, right? So somebody, if they go who doesn't know really everything, and or somebody who may know everything but they cost them a lot of money, but we are there in that segment, so who can address that need, and if they are a bit more not exposed to everything that they want to build, but we can develop that process in place and tell them that what they can do to achieve things at a lower cost and lower time, and that's our USP in place basically.
So you're basically putting EV startups, you're enabling them not to start at 0, but somewhere at 3 or 4.
Exactly. And enabling at that point, and also giving them what they want in a right way, and guiding them in a right way. So with our component ecosystem in place. So that's what we are doing now. Yes.
Great. When you were growing up,
yes,
what were your aspirations at that point of time? Did you ever dream that you'll be a startup founder someday?
Right.
Or that just happened?
Right.
And even up to the age when you became an engineer and got into Mercedes,
yes,
did you think I'll retire at 60 from Mercedes or,
Right.
How did that happen?
I think, though in my college days, I was really, having a lot of extracurricular activities, and I used to, invite people and, host sessions and things like that. So there was kind of an idea, but though it was not clear, and it was very kind of elusive in nature, that I want to do something on my own. But definitely it wasn't clear that what I really would do tomorrow. And because I had met a lot of people around my circle, so they told that you need to have a lot of experience and understandings about. This was back in 2010, 2011. The startup ecosystem was not that bright in place, right? So there were a couple of people who started entrepreneurship in their life, and I met them. So they all told you need to have a certain amount of clarity that what you want to really do. So even though I was very passionate about automotive, I was still insisting to myself to get into a job because I wanted to go through the things that people does it in industry and how automotive works and what is the requirements, things in place. So yeah, as I said, so there wasn't kind of elusive idea that I want to be an entrepreneur, but it wasn't very clear that this is what I want to do. And my family, as we are farmers, and I'm a first generation entrepreneur. And even if I tell them that I want to be an entrepreneur, so they'll throw me out of the house,
I know, in a way, they are also entrepreneurs if they're farmers, right?
I agree.
So, yeah, you're a first gen into EV, maybe.
Exactly. I do, compliment that words. But the perception of somebody having a job is more safer for them.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So security and kind of things.
Yes.
And so, yeah, and when I was in States, so I kind of felt like few things I needed. One is money. Because when I met a lot of entrepreneurs, they told like what is the difference between somebody who is planning things and coming to the shape, because you need to be financially at least independent for some time to bring things into a shape, and also you need to have enough exposure to do things and experience to do things, and then you need to have certain network as well to know if you are stuck at some place you can just go and ask somebody. So I think I took about 7 years to kind of gather and slowly evolve myself and about gaining that confidence. And it was a time when I got an opportunity to work at States, and you get good salary and you could save as much as money you can.
Absolutely.
So it was back in 2019, just before COVID. So I got an opportunity to quit the job, and then I thought this is time I have some buffer. I could start things in place, and so that's how it was, and it wasn't like very clear. But slowly it evolved as an idea to start something on my own. Yes.
I really like that bit where you said that you took 7 years to really get concrete on one idea and build the other things that are required around it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
because actually keeping up your motivation for 7 years is a big thing, right?
Right.
Which most of the startup founders may kind of fall out in the and they'll feel like
well-paid job.
Well-paid jobs, cushion jobs.
Yes.
And I think 7 years is when you get a lot of hikes, promotions, and then it's difficult to quit.
Yeah.
But keeping up that motivation, how did you do that?
No, it's equally tempting as well to leave a job quite often and do something on your own, because you have because for me a lot of times about an entrepreneurship is more about having a space to express your creativity.
Right.
And having your own space to bring things that you dream to an execution. Right? We all imagine a lot of things, but bringing that into a product is a very, very challenging thing. And when you're doing that, we get lost in that creative rat hole, and you become too much creative, a lot of freedom and things in place. So it was always there at every point. I think okay, I have this much of balance. This is a time I want to just get in. But it kind of took me a lot of time to gain that confidence, and also because everything was not very clear to know what I wanted to do, and this is where I can start in place. So at that time when we were consulting some startups and with my jobs and things like that, that was an area where I really was able to concretize, okay, this is what is needed slowly in place. And then once it's all sets in place and things are in financially well, and I knew that I could rely on few people to start a startup.
Yes.
So that's how it all got formulated.
And that is also important because knowing that you can rely on someone, because actually like you, most of us also our families may not be into mainstream entrepreneurship.
True.
But when we are going into that world, I think you need to have some dependable people, right?
Absolutely. Because as an entrepreneur, which I was seen across my life, your day is fantastic at one time, and the next day is like really like, why did I start this,
Yes.
And then for that, you need to have some set of people who could really tell that, hey, we are there, we could take it up, and we can do it, and there's a team, who can really take it up on the technical stuff and marketing stuff and all these things.
Yes.
I think putting that right team itself is the most difficult thing for anyone.
Challenge,
Yes. Yes.
And also, I think more than, as important as the funds are, I think the moral support,
Yes.
that too makes a huge difference, right?
Certainly, I think at the point in place, lucky that I had good mentors at the time. So writing down your clear purpose, writing down that what motivates you to leave the job, and start something, and what you want to do. And I had met a lot of my friends and who their fathers were entrepreneurs. And they told me that it takes 3-4 years to really see something coming out, truly, and that is profitable, and a good outcome in place.
To just stand your ground.
Exactly. So I think all of these things has helped me to kind of structurally put down things in place.
Correct.
And it has given me a lot of times when we had difficulties, like COVID came, and the whole of our business model has to change. The way people have to change, the way they work at office and at home and things like that. So I think going back to that board, and seeing that why did we start,
True.
and what do we want to see as an outcome after some years, and can you have that persistence in place over a few days, few months, and few years to bring an outcome? I think that's what helped me, I believe, as a way to figure it out. And and when a bad day is there, you look at that,
I know.
yes, that's how it is. Yes, that's how it's surviving. Yeah.
So once you were concrete on your idea, what were those first few resources that you tapped into? Maybe
Right.
material wise,
Yeah.
funding wise,
Yeah.
people wise,
Yes.
which which you first tapped into
Yes.
to create the first version of your
Yes.
product.
Yes. So I think I would say first and foremost was about finding right people across the sector. And initially, we didn't start something right away from the product on the table, and let me just design something. There are a lot of people who are already doing things. There are a lot of people who already brought up the things into a place who are more experienced than me. So we started to get them along with us, and so that rather than taking years, as a OEM would take years and years in innovating something and bringing it up to the market, it may take a lot of time and money for them. The same way it's for me as well. If I sit on my table and I start doing everything and building a big team around it, it may be a bad situation that I may not be able to pay them at some amount of time. So we found already people are doing these things. We partnered with them, and it's an opportunity for them also to find and explore more bigger businesses. And for me also, it's a quicker time to bring something that they're already doing it, and then bring it to somebody on the table who needs it actually. And I would be a bridge between them, like an ecosystem partner. And slowly, when we evolved from these suppliers, and we try to support them till today also. We would like to support them till today also. And it's a complementing business. And we are trying to bring up our own products slowly when we see what is really required. And we could do that on our own. And then we built a team on top of it and expertise on top of it. And slowly, when these things have happened, obviously, when we wanted to do something as our own team and our own product in place, the requirement was the money and the resources. The resources were put into place because I had my past experience, getting right people and friends and networks in place. And the money was also a requirement. Slowly, we jump started with what we have as a savings initially, and we pushed it through and propelled it through some time, and then we borrowed things in place and stuff. That's how I think the key thing was about understanding that you can't do everything at a beginning stage with a limited amount of time and money. Though you can do at some amount of time, but not at a very beginning stage. And getting things at the right time for my OEM. And day one, we're always thinking about how do we generate revenue. And it's not about burning. So,
Absolutely.
So putting these things into a place, I think we took some right steps in the beginning, and then that's how it got assimilated to start what we wanted to start. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to know, because I think that is also one very important point. Startups, in order to make products, should not keep on burning the cash, right?
Absolutely.
You can first start with something that's going to market,
Yes.
generate, and then reuse that in the.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it's a gutsy step that you put your own savings.
Absolutely. I agree. I think the very important thing for any startup is that, I've seen a lot of EV companies developing everything on their own, right? So why would Mahindra doesn't do it? Why would Tata doesn't do it? Why would they rely on Bosch to do a lot of things? And because every product is an innovation, and every product need to be proven for million kilometers to say that it is roadworthy, you know. And now you are a 5 people company, you build a product, and even to test it, to validate it, you require millions of dollars. And imagine about testing 1 million miles on the road, and to say it is sufficient and good enough to run now, and so that you can give warranty to your customers, you can rely on your product, works always well. So I think that is where I see a lot of things are not getting well into shape. That's when we started putting these resources into a place to make things happen.
What are some of the most challenging times that you've seen at your startup, and where you thought that this is it, I just can't take it forward, but then something you've done or something has happened and it's gone ahead and continued?
I think the most challenging thing was, if I say, there was a requirement and we didn't have capabilities on that, and then we didn't find right set of suppliers on the other side who was already doing it, but there is a requirement and there is an opportunity in the market, right? And how do I tap that? The fundamental principle is that if you start building it, it takes a lot of time, but can I still take that opportunity and do it? And at a time we have few things on the table. If I start something new, it takes a lot of money and efforts also to make that new thing happen. So, but it was kind of a tempting idea that we wanted to take it up. So we took it as a challenge to develop, which is an electronic. I'm a mechanical engineer, and our team is mechanical guys all together. But we really took that as a challenge, and we developed it. And today,
in-house.
Yes. Wow. So we have that product today, and we are able to make it work on our vehicle and make it run. So it's there now. So that's I would say like a very challenging thing that we took. And I would say over another 9 months or 10 months today, we would be able to put that product into a market as our own product. So I think that's a challenge we took on the table.
So maybe today you don't want to reveal it. Maybe we can have an interview after 10 months as a follow-on.
Absolutely.
That day we will tell our audience what that product is.
Absolutely. We'd love to come down and then showcase that product and
Definitely. And we love the fact that you've taken on the challenge and done something in-house.
Yes.
So definitely, I think our audience would also love it, and we should have a follow-on one after the 10 months.
Yes.
We don't want to ruin the surprise that you want to build into the market, of course.
Yes.
So then you could cater to that requirement at that point of time?
Yes. Not fully, and we were able to promise to a customer that we do this step by step. So we were able to kind of bring it across because they are very tight timelines. Now what happens is within the timeline, every startup have those kind of crazy timelines.
Correct.
And we were able to convince them that it takes time to kind of build something to happen. So they found it confident on us to make that happen. So now they're in a shape that to agree upon to wait another 6 months and 5 months in place to put it on their vehicle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I think your challenge, you converted it into an opportunity.
Yes, it was an opportunity, but it's a challenge.
But I think, yes. I hope and I pray that in the next 10 months that becomes a milestone.
It is a big opportunity for us, and everybody is excited about what we are doing now. Yes.
Superb. So I think I've called you for the interview at the right time. Maybe after another 10 months I couldn't catch hold of you. I hope that is that way. But still I'll book you today itself, another 10 months after the launch of your product. We want to follow on from you. Right?
We would like to come back and talk to you.
Thank you so much. So at your company, once you start,
yes.
What was that first big milestone, which may not seem big today, but at that point of time, that was a fuel for yourself to go ahead.
Right. I think the biggest milestone is getting the first paying customer.
Correct.
So I think
no two questions about it, right?
So if somebody is there and they like what you're doing and who's ready to pay, I think I would say that's the first milestone. Though there were many of them in a smaller steps and stages. But yeah, so I think the biggest happy and successful milestone is when you find a first paying customer.
I think more than the revenue, the fact that someone is
Ready
accepting
to-
your product, right?
Exactly. They're trusting on you. That they're
Yes.
okay to pay for that product in place. Yes.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big feeling, right?
Certainly, it is a really big feeling, and though it comes with a lot of responsibilities at a later
Absolutely.
stage.
You'll always be like cross.
Yes, yes, because there are deliverables now to
Yes.
make it happen. But that's what we do as a company end of the day. So yeah, that's the biggest milestone that we started with. Though on the breakdown way, we had a lot of milestones to start a new office and
Yeah.
to hire right people into a board and to put right process into a place. But the derivative of all of these things is what we say as getting one first paying customer. Yes.
Absolutely. The first kind of validation, right?
Exactly. So, if you don't have the customer and then, we do a lot of things because at the end of the day, you can really see that where it's going to shrink. And for that shrink, you would rely on somebody else's money and all of these things in place.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you can have that paying customer and who could pay for your cost of operations and things like that, and that's how I want to kind of develop the company as a
Absolutely.
very small and agile team with our own profitable possibilities in place. So yeah, that's I would say when the day customers say that yes, this product is yours, and we could pay for that, and that's a big
Yeah.
milestone. Yes.
And as you said, getting revenue and reusing it in business, I think that is one of the things we need to thank our elders for.
Yes.
The thought process flows from there, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
And if we are carrying on that same thing, I think the rate of success is huge for us, right?
Right.
If we carry on that thought process rather than just
Yes.
getting in cash, burning it.
True. So I think I don't know the rate of success. Sometimes I also feel some going back and checking. What is that? It may be many customers, big office, like a lot of things in place. I think when I started the company, so it was about finding space to express your own creativity, as I said, and things in place. So it was giving us a freedom to operate. I think that was something that we really wanted. And then on top of it, rather than going it for very big, starting at a very small thing and then
Being frugal.
exactly. So and reducing less of your contingencies to fail was quite important thing. I think it's all comes by maybe how we grew up with our own parenting and childhood.
Yes.
So when I reflect back, I mean, because as always a family from a middle class background, what's going on in your house and how
Yes.
difficult.
It's actually the middle class families who raise entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Because we could see that difficult times to
Yes.
take those opportunities. But at the time to start, it was not like we were a silver spoon and we had a lot of fundings in place. But I want to build an organization at least for a few years that we are self-sustainable. And then when we see there is a real requirement of funding, so we could go and raise a lot of fundings in place
Absolutely.
and whatever it is required for that.
Beautiful. Yeah. And how you are now your startup is being incubated at the Atal Incubation Center at the
Yes.
Jyoti Institute of Technology
Right.
Foundation, Bangalore.
Yes.
How did you think of joining the
Right.
AIC ecosystem?
Right.
And how has Atal Incubation Center at Jyoti Institute of Technology Foundation
Right.
helped you?
AIC is a great place, I would say, for us, and in many ways, honestly. How did we found AIC is through one of my friend's reference. So he told me that because we were starting and we didn't know there's an ecosystem like this existed, because I really did not have an exposure to these things in place before. And I was talking to one of my friend's friends, so we were discussing across a table, and he told that it was just post-COVID days, and and we had closed our previous office which we had started during the COVID time. It was not really required. So I moved out of the city to kind of live a peaceful life as well. So then I met my friend, and he explained that there is a center like this, and you can just go and find to have a discussions. When I went there, the kind of positivity and the ecosystem that AIC Jyoti has, it's phenomenal. Because I've visited a lot of places, a lot of other not a incubation centers as a part of the college, but somewhere outside there are a lot of incubation centers also available.
Yes.
But AIC's the kind of the support ecosystem that they have built and success stories that they had in place were really amazing. And on top of it, when I met Anand Prasad, who is the CEO of AIC Atal Incubation Center Jyoti, So he has given us that what we are missing.
Right.
And he told that these are the things that now I can support you if you are being here. And that gives us an opportunity to think that, if somebody is there to address your negatives and address your needs in place, why don't we have the things in place? So that's how we got incubated, our organization at AIC Jyoti. And from that day onwards, we had a lot of support, even to get seed funding from AIC Jyoti, being incubated there. And that has helped us in many ways to set up an office and start our product development journey. It was happening, but it has quickened the product development journey as well. Then when we see clearly that these funds are being utilized, and we've been guided to apply for other fundings and things in place, then we got shortlisted for ANIC. That's a funding from Niti Aayog under the DST as well. So we were able to actually that guidance. As I said, we never nearly know that there is something like this that we can apply for, and
absolutely giving the awareness.
Yes. So there's so many things that are happening. So many things that are happening, and you start spending all of your energies applying for that, going there, pitching, and it's not happening. It's a very short amount of time, energy you have. And you give like 20 pitches and you're almost like, why am I doing this?
Right.
So with all these difficulties in place, when somebody is guiding you right away,
yes.
And that's what happened. And then the team guided us how to apply, what to apply for, what category to apply for. We did apply, we got shortlisted, and then we got screened, and we also got a confirmation that we are selected.
So the AIC Jyoti was also one of the right resource at the right time in your setup.
Yes, absolutely. And as a hardware startup, we need a lot of space, we need a lot of infrastructure and things like that. So AIC has been providing all of this at a very affordable price for us as well. And I say like the agile means everything, the frugal means everything, and a small amount of penny that you pay for your rents as well. So in that way, we're able to manage good with AIC's infrastructure. And also,
when did you join AIC Jyoti?
It was back in 2021.
Okay.
About 2021, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think it was like a perfect fit of a jigsaw puzzle in your business, right?
Absolutely. And I said when I met Prasad, so he told me what we don't have. Right.
Correct.
So, and then it's a right puzzle to just fit there and see like how it goes. And slowly they were mentoring us and guiding us what we don't have. Because everybody can say what we have, but what we don't have is something also important.
Yes.
And we are able to put that things across, and it is able to help us to grow the business in the right way as well. Yes.
Nice. And as a startup,
Yeah.
what is one of the craziest things that you've done?
I think when I set up a project, right? So that we did not know how to do it, and we had an opportunity in place. So, and everybody was nervous, everybody was shocked that, how do we do it?
Right.
How do we do it? So I said like, if we could do that, we could have an international trip, because none of the team, all the youngsters, are like they never gone abroad.
They had their motivation right there.
That's, we all put our energies in place to kind of go there.
True.
I don't know, it's craziest, but it has just pumped their motivation, to do the things in place. Yes.
So then there was a trip.
I think I say the product is getting launched in 10 months, and we would look forward to definitely take that.
And if your employees are watching this, he has told, you'll get a trip.
Certainly, it's on the record now.
Yes.
Certainly, yes.
When you first had this idea of doing something in the EV sector,
Yes.
how has your innovation and creativity converted that idea into a practical reality today?
Right.
Were there any changes from what you initially thought you'll do?
Right.
Or is it the same thing?
Right. No, absolutely. As a startup, we do have some pivoting thoughts at many moments in place. There is no doubt on that. At a time when me and my co-founders have brought together, like, why don't we even build a bike? But our idea is to create an ecosystem. But even when we are pitching and everybody is selling, like, why don't you build a bike? It's not about building components for the bike. But I strongly, coming from an experience in automotive, I know what it takes to build a bike and what it takes to build a component. Right. So, and there were circumstances when we were really like pulled into the creativity of building a bike. And then, like, there was a lot of energies that, because when you see as a whole vehicle, there's a lot of different energy and motivation to you. You get to ride it. When you see a component, you don't know where it sits. People doesn't even know where it is in the bike or a car, right?
True.
So, but as a whole vehicle, it is very interesting to build for a lot of people.
Correct.
But slowly putting that thoughts into a place that what we can do and gradually, like, what we can do on top of it later on. As a broader picturization on you should not go in a direction that is not really like, fitable for us. And then bringing back into the possibility of creativity. Most of the time, I would say that I was very much limited with the way I know in automotive, because we would know what is really required than building something which is out of the box that may not fit today. And so we were trying to limit ourselves that what is really required today and to my customer.
Correct.
And I can do 10 different things, but that may cost me more. It may take me more amount of time that may not be needed for my customer.
True.
So it was always about trying to put some boundaries and then achieving, because if you could do this, you could do that as well tomorrow. So I think putting a lot of restrictions itself, because teams comes up with, let's do that. They have done this, let's me also do it. But achieving something which we started and giving a direction into it and fulfilling it and then taking a next step is what I believe in, and which I have seen when I'm working with my past companies as well. It's sort of a strategic decision. Nobody changes something in a course of period over a midway in any of these companies, right?
Correct.
So the same thing that we try to implement and adopt so that we could also evolve and become stable on top of the things. I think this is something that we were able to put a process into a place than going into a lot of over the short ideas and then let's do that as a startup, let's do everything into a place. I think we understand that, okay, this is what we can do as a small team. This is what is profitable for us to do it, and this is what our customer will buy, and that's what we're trying to do today.
So you've completely niched down.
Yes. Because understanding what we want to do is very, very important.
Absolutely.
And because you spend a lot of time, money, and everybody's efforts, so it is something that you can always bring it to a shape if you know what you want to do clearly.
Correct.
And we brought on a lot of those steps into small integral parts. So and we are building the organization in the same way as well, that we have projects in place, but not everything could happen at the same time. But slowly we could build things in place. Yes.
So now, since you're building components for EV vehicles,
yes,
do you think these components could be only for vehicles or even for the machines, if they could be also run on electricity?
Right. No, I think the design is developed around automotive as a requirement.
Okay.
Because there are some standards and regulations that we have to meet for automotive.
Okay.
That same product may be a bit more expensive for an other application where you do not have these many regulations in place or safety criticality is in place.
But then with a bit of modifications, you can?
It can be possible, but I think every domain have its own requirements, because I can't just it may not be like a socket kind of a thing, right? So there are a lot of customization that you require. You need to know a domain experience to do all of that.
So again, it will require all the research again.
That is true. So in that way, I think it's better because we have developed a product around automotive, and we be there. We be there because, and also your addressable market itself is very big,
very huge.
And today, 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, which you see, it's a very, very, very small market that we have today. It is going to be not even 5% of overall vehicle sales today, right? And when I see that itself is a very big potential and big opportunity for us.
Absolutely.
So I think in that way we will still stick to automotive, and we'll stick to the areas of automotive, and we would like to explore more and more there as of today. Yes. So
have you received any fundings and awards for your startups?
Right.
And what is the story behind it?
Okay. So funding, as I already revealed, so we got a seed funding from Startup Seed Fund, SSI we call it as Startup Seed Fund. It is from Government of India. It's like if I have to go to any other financial partner like bank or anybody else, they would ask you a lot of things. As a startup, we really have started something, and there is nothing as a concrete today. I can show my balance sheets, I can show number of years, and all these things. So I think a Startup Seed Fund is a very, very useful fund. Again, that we have got it is given only through incubators. So because we were incubated at AIC Jyoti, and we were able to apply through them, and we were able to get the Startup Seed Fund from their side.
Okay.
And that's one fund. It's we got it, and then later on, as I said, we also got a funding from ANIC, which is part of Niti Aayog as well, and we are in the process of getting that funds getting released as well. So it's about a 1 year that we have got. And,
Hearty congratulations.
Thank you. So it's a great opportunity as well, because at the very early stage, you're dissolving your equity and a lot of complications and a lot of pressures. It may be too difficult for you to survive. So in that way, because what the government is supporting ecosystem is phenomenal today. That benefits that we are able to get is really amazing. And with that way, we are able to now narrow down. We have developed something, and this fund we are utilizing it to go for a productionization and to I would say a lab to a land kind of a concept. So we can make this prototypes into products with the funding that we are getting from the ANIC. So then once we see volumes in place and things may require, we would have a better positioning and valuation for ourselves. At the time, certainly we would go for external funding and things like that. Yeah.
Very nice to know that.
Thank you.
So from the time you started your startup, where has it reached now from the beginning?
All right.
And where do you stand right now, and how far do you expect it will go?
Right. When back in 2021 December we started it was just an idea. It was an idea on the PPTs, and it was an idea on brain, and this is what we want to do, and a lot of boards in place. So from that day, putting up a team and bringing all of that ideas and narrowing down what is that really required. So today we are in, I would say in industry we call it a B sample. So A sample, then B sample, then a C sample, and then the production, pre-production and productionization. So we are in the B sample stage today. That means we have built a couple of prototypes, we have tested them, we have redesigned the product, and then we have developed a B sample. That means it is almost like 70% functional, and it meets certain standards in place. And from here we will now, with the fundings and all these things in place, short amount of time, we would go to a C sample stage. And so we can say that it is certified by organizations like ARAI and few other people in place that it is roadworthy. And so that's what we're going to do. And in this C C sample stage, but we are in a end of B sample stage right now. So with this access to funds, and we would go to a C sample stage with the two products that we have in place. And that is, we call it as a battery management system, which is our own indigenously developed algorithms and hardware in place, and in the vehicle control unit. These two will come to a C sample stage, and then I would say by about December and by about February, we would have them ready for putting into a more number of vehicles and do a lot of field testing as well.
Oh, wow.
In continuation. And once we prove all of that and minor iterations, by about May, at that time, we are looking forward to put this into a couple of our customer vehicles.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we see as what is going on a journey right now. But apart from it, where do we see ourselves for the future? Is that we want to be a technology company with products that can fit the needs of Indian OEMs. And if there's a requirement, and if they feel that there's the right people to address, and EDrive should be a company that all of these OEMs should look for, and which would be at a lower cost, at lower time to market in place, but at these things it is still reliable and doesn't put their reputations into a bad lines. This is what we want to build as an organization. At a volume scale, it's maybe just crazy to put across. We really don't know what we want to, what we can do in another 5-6 years in place. But at least in other 2-3 years, we want to meet 2-3 customers at least, and then serve their needs, so that our products are streamlined in place. That's our journey forward.
Very nice to talk to you, Mr. Suraj.
Thank you.
And I think our audience also echoes my words.
Right.
I'm sure they're all inspired,
Right.
and I am more, motivated, and I'm so happy because it was just an idea at the end of 2021.
Right.
And in 1.5 years, you are already on to the end of the B sample stage.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that truly shows the capabilities and capacities that we have in our Indian scenario, right?
Yes.
And a lot of youngsters, I think, would get motivated listening to you. Maybe future startup founders,
Right.
and that is the core thing of our series. We want to inspire the youngsters.
Wow.
because when they listen to your struggles, when they listen to your successes,
Right, right.
they have a lot to learn, and they can also put in the thought process.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
There is a potential market
Absolutely.
in an Indian ecosystem today. There's a good supporting ecosystem as well today. But how maturely you start and where do you start is really required. Because I met a lot of entrepreneurs in abroad when I was there. They're very well planned about to taking that risk of not being paid even for 2 years, 1.5 year. I think that kind of an ecosystem we may not see it that well here today.
Maybe not yet.
Yeah. So I think even the investor ecosystem is also very well matured there.
Yes.
In a way, how things are happening. I think, but definitely there is no time to be called as not a right time. So it's everybody have done things and they're successful as well. But I think yeah, opportunities are available ahead for everyone, and as a country we have a lot of things to address and grow as well. So I think yeah, many people to be there on the entrepreneurship journey to see,
Absolutely.
and many people to come here and inspire others as well. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really hope today someone gets inspired by listening to a talk and then does their startup and someday is on this chair to talk to us and inspire more people.
True, true.
Sir, this is a small token of appreciation.
Thank you so much, Pariksha.
Thank you so much for being with us here today and having a talk with us.
Thank you.
This is our Ink2inc series where we bring to you stories of real startups, how these startups started just as an idea and have become successful companies today. Thank you, everyone.